Hi there, I'm Susan Beyer, and this is Fun with Research. Welcome. Today I'm talking about a very common question that we get from marketers, which is how many respondents do I need? And what that question really is for quantitative research is how many respondents do I need for my results to be reliable, statistically reliable, meaning that the answers you get can be looked at as representative of the population that you surveyed. Very common question. So we're not going to get into a whole bunch of statistical mumbo jumbo here, but basically the short answer to this question is 400. And that's because in a large population, if you get responses from 400 respondents to your survey, that gives you a margin of error that is less than 5 points, 5 percentage points at 95% confidence. So that means, first of all, that the percentages, say you have a percentage of women in your survey, can be plus or minus 5 points from the number that you show in your results. So if it's 40, it could be as high as 45 or as low as 35. And the 95% confidence just means that if you ran that survey over and over and over again with similar groups of respondents, 95% of the time you would get results that were within that 5 point margin of error, plus or minus. And that's a pretty good accepted rate of statistical reliability. So 400 is the easy answer, but it's not always the right answer. Let's say you're in a B2B company and there are only 200 companies that buy a product like yours. Maybe it's some kind of very specialized scientific testing equipment. So if there are only 200 of these companies out there, then if you get completed responses from 135 of them, you're in that same margin of error, plus or minus 5 points at 95%. So you don't need 400 in that case. You only need 135 because the population is so much smaller. But keep in mind, it may be harder to get 135 completed responses out of a universe of 200 than it is to get 400 completed responses out of a universe of 500,000. So different challenges, but the numbers change a little bit. The way my sister puts this, my sister Sarah is the statistical brains behind Audience Audit, our research firm. And the way she puts it is that if you dip a spoon into a pot of soup, you've tasted enough of the soup to know that every spoonful is going to taste about the same. That's what statistical reliability means. So if you're conducting research for thought leadership, you may want to actually have more respondents than you technically need for statistical reliability. I've seen that having 1,000 respondents in a consumer survey or in a small business survey or something like that can be much more effective at gaining interest from press outlets, from opportunities to speak at conferences, etc. Even though you don't technically need 1,000 respondents to get the level of statistical reliability you're looking for, it seems to be kind of a magic number for people saying, ooh, that's an impressive study. So you may actually want to get more respondents than you need. Another reason you may need more respondents is because you know going in that you really want to look at a specific subgroup of the people who responded to your survey. So let's say one of the initiatives that your organization is looking at is really doing a better job at reaching and building engagement and sales from Gen X respondents. So we would want to make sure going in that we were going to get at least 400 Gen X respondents so that within that group alone, within that subset, you can compare things like gender and stuff like that and still have statistical reliability just within that group. So that's something you would want to think about ahead of time. Again, talk with your research providers, you're planning your respondent strategy, and those kinds of things can be important. I hope I have demystified the question for you about how many respondents that you need. If you have any other questions, go to funwithresearch.com. There's a form there where you can submit a question that I'll answer on the show. We've also got a bunch of resources on the site, a couple of them specifically relating to survey respondents, how to find them, etc. And those are free to download. So I hope you enjoyed today's show. We're on with a new video every Friday. I hope you see you next week. And I hope in the meantime you have some fun with research.